There were thoughts I saved for later, tiny sparks to name aloud, little wonders meant for sharing when the room was full and proud. But the future changed its timing, left me standing in between, holding conversations fragile that would never get to be. Words can stay unspoken till they lose their need to sound. When the moment disappears, they dissolve without a sound. So many questions left wandering, with no place to settle down. No reply and waiting, no response to circle round. Once meant for your attention, once meant for your embrace, now they drift without direction, questions without any place. Things I'd ask about our seasons, about the turning of your mind. If you ever felt the warming or the chill I couldn't find. But the window closed in silence, not with anger, not with frost, just a gentle kind of fading of a story that got lost. Answers don't feel needed when the purpose goes away. Even yearning can grow quiet when it outlives yesterday. So many questions left wandering that no longer have a claim. They no longer carry weight, they no longer speak your name. Once they waited for devotion, now they wander into space, invisible and harmless, questions without any place. There's a peace in uncompletion when you give the moment grace. Not every thought requires landing, not every query needs a face. Time can gather without verdict, let the open ending stay. Simple answers aren't required when the heart has moved away. So many questions left wandering, but they're quiet in the air. No resentment in their drifting, no demand for someone there. What existed had its season, what remained has found its place in the soft unspoken corners of a memory's embrace. Some things stay unshattered with their mystery intact. Not every door needs answers, not every story needs its fact. At first the room felt crowded with the history we kept, jokes stored in the corners, dreams folded where we slept. Then mornings lost their color, evenings lost their spark. Little things began to vanish long before the final dark. No fight dressed up in thunder, no heartbreak on display, just a slow and quiet thinning of what love forgot to stay. The room emptied itself in silence, piece by piece it disappeared. First the laughter, then the longing, then the comfort we revered. No dramatic closing curtain, no announcement for the crowd, just a vacancy in stages where affections once spoke loud. Photos stayed but lost their story, touch stayed but lost its heat. Meals turned into motions, chairs faced empty seats. Questions stopped arriving, answers never came, not through hurt or accusation, just a subtle shift in frame. Distance doesn't break like thunder, it dissolves like melting snow. One day you sense the absence more than anything you know. The room emptied itself in silence, taking warmth along the way. First the closeness, then the laughter, then the plans for some new day. No confessions, no surrender, no resentment to unfurl, just a quiet kind of ending as the world released the world. Sometimes love doesn't fracture, sometimes love doesn't bleed, sometimes it just stops filling where the heart once had its need. Not every leaving shatters, not every absence cries. Some goodbyes take gentle footsteps till they vanish from the eyes. So the room emptied without warning, till there was no room at all. What began with every reason had no reason left to call. No finale, no conclusion, just a space that reached its end, where lovers turned to strangers and strangers couldn't mend. Some love leaves through subtraction, and some endings never break. Some stories end in silence with nothing left to take. curtain thoughts between us. quiet as a song. Your gaze drifts to distance, somewhere safe and clean. Risk is for the reckless, so it always seems. I trace the outline of your hesitation, every word measured for insulation. You built a soundproof heart, walls thick with hesitation, and still I spoke so loud. You built a soundproof heart, felt all the static danger, still I stayed somehow. We talked about futures, safely theoretical. Affection kept at surface, never quite symmetrical. Your touch was always steady, just never intimate. Warm, so calculated, something to imitate. Hard truths wrapped up in understatement, soft lies drafted for containment. And still I spoke so loud. You built a soundproof heart, felt all the static damaging, still I stayed somehow. Sometimes emotion looks like kindness, sometimes avoidance looks like care, but intention without devotion is just tension in the air. And I whispered through the pattern, and I shouted through the phone, but love cannot be transmitted through found aid of stone. Now I watch the aftermath, nothing patriotic. That fortress in your usage and abomination. Now I watch the aftermath, quiet revelation. Peace arrives so softly, history becomes a soft dimension. Distance turns to clarity, finally leaving its mark. You built a soundproof heart, where connection stayed unspoken, where connection stayed unbroken. You built a soundproof heart, while I chased every signal, treating static as original. So I stayed sound apart. Sometimes absence is the answer, sometimes distance is the truth, and nothing left to measure but the quiet in the room. I used to frame my days around the shape of someone else. Every hour had a reason then, beyond myself. Now mornings rise without a pull, no promise left to chase. I greet the light the way it comes and take my place. Some feelings fade into the back without a sound or fight. They don't leave scars upon the skin, they simply change their life. Finding where love fits now, not at the center of it all, more like a window carried once upon them slipped away. I smile at memories that rise without wishing them near. They sit beside me for a while, then clear. I stopped believing closeness had to define my ground. Some truths remain without a voice, yet still feel sound. I'm finding where love fits now, somewhere softer than before. Not gone, not holding every thought, just resting near the door. It doesn't fill the empty space or teach me how. It simply lives among my days. I'm finding where love fits now. Maybe love was never lost or meant to fade away. It only changed the role it plays along the way. I carry it without a grip, I let it drift around. It stays a feeling, not a rule or solid ground. I'm finding where love fits now, between the calm and clear. Not something driving every step, just something still held dear. I walk ahead with open hands, no vow, no sacred how. I let it be what it can be. That's where love fits now. Slow down behind me, like something waited in the air. The streetlights flickered just a little, as if they almost cared. I heard my steps against the pavement, count time I couldn't see. There was a weight inside the quiet that followed silently. I paused without a reason, long enough to breathe. Something tugged at my attention, stayed unnamed in me. I kept walking forward with the past right at my back. One glance could have shifted something, but I stayed on track. I felt a question in my shadow, I never turned to face. Some moments pass unnoticed, still they never erase. I told myself the feeling was nothing I should slow. The comfort lives in motion, and stopping asks too much receive. I stepped ahead of meaning and called it being free. I kept walking forward, let the stillness stay behind. I mistook relief for clarity and timing for a sign. There was warmth just out of vision that I never tried to place. Some moments pass unnoticed, still they never erase. Years later it returns to me without blame or regret, just a frame that never softened and hasn't faded yet. I don't relive it for the ending or the words we never said. It lives as one small instant that stayed where it was left. Still hold your laughter like it hasn't figured out that the sound already left us, but the silence stayed around. Your smile is on the table, your words still in the air. Everything feels warmer than the truth we didn't share. I wait for the moment when the echo fades away, but it hangs in the corners of everything you say. This is the space after laughter, when joy leaves first, then us. The quiet feels heavier than the things we never discussed. I stay where the feeling was louder than the doubt I feel right now. This is what's left in the room when happiness steps out. We move like nothing shifted, still joking, still near, but the sound falls flatter every time it reappears. You reach for something lighter, I reach for something distance stays with you. There's a pause between the moments where I almost speak, but the room already knows what you won't hear from me. This is the space after laughter, when the spark goes quiet first. We keep pretending comfort is enough to stop the hurt. I watch the joy exit early, like it knows how this ends, leaving me with the quiet and the shape we were in. Laughter used to be a signal that we were still okay. Now it sounds like something borrowed that won't decide to stay. You can't force light to linger once the reason's gone. The room remembers happiness long after it moves on. This is the space after laughter, where the truth finally breathes. Nothing's broken out loud, but everything feels complete. I don't leave, I just notice what the silence allows. This is what remains between us when joy leaves the room first. Some rooms stay full even after the sound is gone. You reach for me carefully, like the ground might give away. Every touch stops just short of asking me to stay. I feel what you're holding back, even when you're near. There's warmth in the silence, but it's guarded by fear. You circle the feeling like it might break the room. Love waits in the doorway. Fear enters first every time you move. I'm almost safe enough for you to fall into. Almost close enough to be chosen to. You let me feel the edges promises that never ask for more. You stand right beside me, still watching the floor. I carry the weight of what you won't try. You call it being careful, but careful has a price. Every time it feels real, you pull the line tight. Like happiness is something that disappears if held too tight. I'm almost safe enough to trust with your heart. Almost the place where your defenses start. You stay close to the moment, but far from the truth. Fear keeps choosing first before you choose me and you. I don't doubt what you feel, I doubt what you allow. Some people protect themselves so much they never arrive. You brace for the ending before anything begins, calling it survival while quietly losing again. I'm almost safe enough, but almost isn't home. You rest in the maybe instead of what's known. I stay where you left me, between yes and no, watching fear take the lead every time love gets close. If love needs courage, fear will always be early. The room is quiet, but I'm not calm. Every thought keeps drifting back. I replay moments in my head like they might finally talk back. Your coat is still behind the door. Your silence sits beside my bed. I wonder what you carry now, and if my name lives in your head. I don't need you to call my phone or say the words out loud. I just need to know sometimes I cross your mind somehow. I'm hoping your name is thought of in silence when the world finally lets you breathe. In the spaces where no one's watching, do you remember me? I don't need promises or guidance, just a moment where it's true. I'm hoping your name's thought of in silence, the way I think of you. And I move slow across the walls, like it's listening to my heart. I speak to you without a sound, afraid of where the answers start. time slowly rearranged. I'm hoping your name is thought of in silence when the lights are finally low, when you're alone with all your feelings and nowhere left to go. I don't need a sign or a reason or a truth you can't explain. I'm hoping your name is thought of in silence, even just once again. If love could speak without a voice, it would sound like this. All the things we never said, still asking to exist. I don't need to be your answer, I don't need to be your home. Just don't erase me from the places where your thoughts go when you're alone. I'm hoping your name is thought of in silence, like a prayer you never sent, in the quiet after midnight, before the night can end. If my heart still finds you there, in the calm you don't defend, I'm hoping your name is thought of in silence, until the silence ends. If you ever hear the quiet speak, you'll know it's me. I don't live in your mornings or the plans you make out loud. I don't sit beside your daylight or the crowds you move around. But when the room goes quiet and your phone is face down, that's when I feel you near me, like a thought you won't write down. I don't need a place to stay in the hours you can see. I just wonder who I am when it's only you and me. I'm the one you feel at midnight when the noise is finally gone. I'm the echo in the silence that you don't stay on for long. I don't live in your tomorrow or the life you let them see. I'm just someone you remember when the night remembers me. You never say my name out loud, but it lingers in your breath, like a sentence left unfinished that you don't correct. You scroll past all the open doors, all the faces shining bright. Then you stop a little longer on the past you meet at night. when you don't answer calls. I don't live where choices happen or where futures start to be. I'm just someone you remember when you finally feel lonely. I used to wish the night would last long enough to change your mind, but morning always comes too fast and leaves me far behind. Maybe this is all I am, a feeling you don't keep, a door you close in daylight but open in your sleep. I'm the one you feel at midnight, not the one you choose to stay. I exist between the seconds you let quietly slip away. And even though it hurts to know what I was, not what I'll be, I'm still someone you remember when the night won't let you sleep. If I live only in your quiet, I'll learn how to be quiet too. You say my name like it still fits, like nothing shifted underneath. But I've been changing quietly in ways you never see. You smile like you remember me from somewhere far behind, like I'm a picture you still keep from a different time. I wonder who you're reaching for when you look at me this way. Is it who I am right now, or who I was that day? Do you miss the version you met before the edges showed, before the nights weighed heavier than I ever told? If you miss the version you met, I hope you let her rest. She gave you everything she had before she became this. I'm still here, just not the same, and that's the truth I bring. If you miss the version you met, please see who's standing in. Less than who I was, just further along. The world can feel like sharpened glass if you're not careful where you stand. I felt the pressure close around, like it was part of the plan. But every time I almost closed, something inside me stayed. A quieter voice beneath the noise that gently asked me not to change. I've seen how easy it becomes to armor every scar, but something stronger holds its shape when left the way you are. I'm staying soft, even when the days feel hard. I'm staying open, even when I'm on my guard. I don't confuse the ache with weakness, staying soft within. I've watched affection turn to stone from carrying too much weight. I've seen how hearts begin to fold when patience arrives too late. But I still choose the slower path, where feeling isn't wrong, where kindness isn't something rare or fragile for too long. I don't protect myself with walls, I don't pretend I'm fine. I keep my hands where they can feel the passing time. I'm staying soft through the silence and the sound. I'm staying open with my feet still on the ground. I let emotions come and go without asking them to win. I hold my center carefully, staying soft within. Tender doesn't mean untrue or unaware of pain. It means I let the light come through after the rain. I don't harden just to last, I don't toughen just to stand. I trust the strength it takes to feel and understand.